Hello televiewers, good evening and welcome to another edition of Prime Hour on My Media Prime. We are sorry for the slight late start because of technical issues. The machines have been disturbing all this while, but we thank God they are fine and that we are live and ready to give you just what we prepared for you. This evening we are going to be discussing on the conflicting calls for a lockdown in the northwest and southwest regions by the different factions of the pro-independence activists across the board. The AGC giving a different date, the IG of SACU giving a different date, the IG of Ayub Tabi giving a different date, and the ground forces, purported ground forces equally giving a different date. We look at whose interest this lockdown is intended to safeguard. We equally are going to answer the question as to whether Cameroon is going to be ready for the AFCON 2021, given the pace at which the respective structures are being put together to host this continental football jamboree. We discuss these two topics with our panelists who are already in the house. I'll start by welcoming the person who is all the way from Boya Southwest Regional Capital. He is a journalist, Gilles Mbinglo, just arrived Douala this evening. Gilles, good evening and welcome.
Good evening to you, and special greetings to our panelists and, of course, to our viewers. It's a pleasure.
How is Boya today?
So far, so good. It is called the ground zero from every angle, but with time, we see how the evolution is going on, and the people are happy, as always, hoping for the best to come for the country so that normalcy, as we have been preaching, can be the order of the day.
News of the lockdown, is it panicky over there?
For over 3 years counting, there's been a lot of misinformation. There's been a lot of misinformation. And people have come to a certain level where they have come to understand that there is actually confusion among the so-called people who seem to be in charge of the crisis from the diaspora. So I can vehemently tell you that nobody knows what's going to happen because the procedure for the lockdown, which is actually causing misery on people, is not very clear.
Lockdown is causing misery?
Yeah, come on. You put people down for 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and no economic activities are down. So people are thinking the discussion is ongoing, but at the end of the day, what people want is simple dialogue, peace, and for us to live together and go forward as we have always been.
Okay, also in the program with us is Nzifo Ferdinand. He is a civil society activist, political analyst. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
You have echoes of lockdown from the northwest, southwest. What are people saying?
I am at the entrance into Bonaveri. You see people trickling in, coming in. What we noticed that for almost a year, 2 years, you have people going around. Can we have a house? Can we have a room? And so on. So more and more people are coming in.
Okay. Also in the house with us is the Secretary General of Modekna Party, Tamfu Jones. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening and thank you very much, Mr. Kun, for inviting me here today. Good evening to the fellow panelists and good evening to the televiewers.
Last but not the least is the rights activist advocating powerfully for the rights of the children to go back to school is Mbaku Jute. He's a journalist. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Leonard, and accept special greetings, viewers from my end here. I equally extend regards to the fellow panelists today.
Mbaku, I start with you. What is the general reaction to the announced lockdown? As a journalist, I'm sure you are here in Douala, but you have your ears and eyes in the northwest where you actually reside, because I want to understand that you are an IDP in Douala now. Yes. What is the reaction from ground zero?
Well, I expected what the outcome is. I envisaged it. I knew that it was going to be what it is, because we've often had such situations where when things do not go right, we have people who are always ready to make it worse. And the verdict that we had on Tuesday was just another catalyst to give these guys of diaspora the legitimate voice again, legitimate voice according to them, to, in fact, pain the people again. You know, last time we used to have 10 days and so, but this time they are calling for 3 weeks, and you realize that the person who came out clearly to call for these 3 weeks is somebody who, to me, I look at Chris Anu, like I see him like someone who has already been embattled along the process within this period. He was already fighting some battles, and I think, to me, I look at him like somebody who did that out of anger. You know, his mother had already been taken alongside the sister. This guy has already been vomited by the forces on ground. I'm talking about his own forces and other collaborators of the Amazonian struggle. These guys are bitter, so it was just an opportunity for them to spill that bitterness on some people, even without the consultation of the people on ground, the forces on ground. And so everything that is happening, these two factions are really endangering the lives and causing total misery, total agony to the people of the Northwest and Southwest region. The reactions from the ground, from the field, from ground zero, from the Northwest region, from the Southwest region, the reactions have not been good. In fact, just that same moment, that same Tuesday morning, the parks were jam full. You know, people were traveling into Bafoussam, into Yaoundé. The rate at which people are traveling out of those regions, because they are seeing that, foreseeing that, sensing more danger in the days ahead. The lockdown has not even started, and so people are taking precautionary measures to ensure that they stay safe. So to me, I see it a very dangerous period for that people.
Tamfu, you certainly have people in the, I'm sure, is it Donga Mantum Division, Bui Division. What is the information filtering out from these two divisions where you have very close ties, especially the fact that you are a politician?
I think with the call for the lockdown, that we find divided opinions from the leaders of the secession groups. The population are complaining. They are tired of all what has been going on, and they want peace to come back. They want things to return to normalcy. But unfortunately, Yaoundé has been so quiet towards that direction, because by now they will have called for dialogue. But instead of calling for it, because they started preaching dialogue when the PM went to the Northwest and the Southwest preaching dialogue, that Mr. P is ready to dialogue. We have been expecting that to happen, but unfortunately it isn't happening. Instead, where we heard them again, they came out, started preaching back to school. Now we're praying that things should come back to normal. Maybe dialogue should be held, and then children go back to school. Now, but unfortunately, back to school has children have not yet gone back to school. There has been no dialogue, all of which we were waiting for. The government have slammed life imprisonment to the leaders, Amazonian leaders.
Is that what people are saying in relation to the lockdown?
Absolutely, because
okay.
the lockdown
is
as a result of the...
Yeah, but what you are saying, is it your judgment of government's reaction to the crisis, or is this what the people are calling from the villages and telling you?
That is what people are calling from the villages, because if the government didn't slam these people life imprisonment, I don't think that the lockdown will have been announced. So they were trying to battle with children going back to school and whatnot. But instead of the government finishing with that, the government added another galvanizing element to the struggle that would raise the mind of the people again. And now they find themselves in a very difficult situation, that you see people trying to leave one part of the country to the other. So it's really frustrating to the population of the over there. It's
frustrating. For Ferdinand, you have people, I'm sure, across the Northwest and Southwest regions. You have friends. Yes. Maybe from Manu.
Families, yes, and so on.
Have they called you to express their reaction to the call for a possible lockdown?
Yes, we had this information long before. There are two things we should not forget. One, there were calls for school boycott. And some of the Amazonian forces on the ground made it clearly that there will be no school. So to them, they can use any means to stop school. As the last person was saying, the verdict also added some other fire to the whole thing. So for long, people have been saying that there should be no school. So to an extent, the sentencing of the leaders only added more fire. We have also had calls from abroad. So to an extent, the people knew that something will happen. But the gravity of the announcement is that which really was above the expectations, because every Monday they observe ghost towns, impose ghost towns. So they are used to some sort of resistance. The people believe that that one day sacrifice is enough message. So for them, thinking that those calling for those things could use the Monday boycott of activities and send a clear message. When you add 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 months, they get confused and then begin to doubt everybody.
You begin to doubt. Gilles Miglo, you came from Buea this evening. You certainly live around the quarters in Buea. You have friends in Limbe, Moyuka, and across the southwest region. What is the general atmosphere in Buea since the announcement of these conflicting dates and durations of the lockdown?
I want to start by saying that it's an atmosphere of dismay.
Okay.
It's one with which people are doubtful in terms of the credibility of our government, which shouldn't have been. Because when you look at the timing of the verdict, you ask yourself, it is September. We are talking about back to school. There had already been a will from parents. There had already been a will, even from those fighting on the ground, that okay, we have some groups who have started advocating that okay, what we prefer is that let's have some private owned institutions of learning be allowed to operate. But now at the point in time where people are developing that understanding, and then all of a sudden, something comes up and it's life imprisonment. Okay, you have changed the paradigm. We have gone back to the beginning of where it started.
Are you saying that the people welcome the lockdown because of that decision?
There's one thing about a lockdown which we have to understand very well. It's not whether you welcome it or not. It's like a it's not only imposed, but it's a push factor which becomes even difficult for you to control for one or two reasons. There are people who are unable to afford even a dog to take care of their homes in case of any approaching person that is not considered friendly. We have even the civil servants and people who cannot even afford a wash night or a security guard. But we have government administrators who are capable not only in owning more than 2 security guards with armed weapons, they are also even capable of having armored cars. Which therefore means that there's one aspect. You have a business place in which you are not sure if the next day is going to be available. You are living at your home, you are not sure if you fail to respect the lockdown or the ghost town, the implication is going to be on you. There is no government security agent who is going to be stationed at every given home. So the tendency was that with this mindset that people had about back to school, it has changed drastically. Because I want to tell you that the verdict was not timely. Had it been this verdict came early enough, there might have been evolving ideas and the debates would have shaped the minds of people. But presently, I've gone around, I've tried to do some research on the ground. I've talked to people, I've been in bars, I've been in markets, because that is where you get the information. Nobody wants to buy the books. And that is the problem. So we have to, I know, you look at this crisis from 2016, it seems like it's a drama unfolding. It seems like you can easily understand the next step that is going to happen. And then you're asking yourself, but who exactly is in charge? So the issues are coming from the fact that people are really tired. But because you are tired and you are fighting an enemy that is within you, it is difficult for you to be able to handle it. Take, for instance, people have been talking of why is there no dialogue? This thing is happening because there is no dialogue. When I came to Douala this evening, I took a bike to reach here. And then I had a problem with the gentleman, and I said, I've paid you not to double anybody because I want to meet up with time. He says, bro, things are difficult, and they try to understand. I said, okay, that is dialogue. That is dialogue. At a certain point, we had an understanding. I said, feel free, brother. I'm sure wherever I'm going to, God knows that I have to be there.
You're speaking English or French?
No, I spoke in both languages. The guy understood.
bilingual,
It's just to
bilingual,
tell you that our problems are more of ourselves. So if we can handle some of these things, it becomes easier for even the back to school ideology to put in practice.
Mbaku Jute, we have different versions announcing this this lockdown. Is it to confirm or better expose the cracks that exist amongst the different factions in this whole fight?
Yes, it just goes to confirm the fact that the diaspora guys themselves are confused. You know, with the change of events in the whole struggle, in the whole process, people get so confused that they do things and then go back again on the drawing board, ask themselves, is this what they actually plan for? Then turn back to realize that they have done errors. But now the challenge is for them to actually accept publicly, to be honorable enough to say that we have faltered here. But how do you even accept that you have made an error when you know that your opponent will rather use your error to crush you? So diaspora those guys in the diaspora, they have made many errors which they cannot redress simply because they are scared that they might open cracks and give a little way for the regime down here to deal with them. We have a serious problem with the people who call the shots from the diaspora. There are about 8 or more of those factions that we know. But as far as this goes down is concerned, we know the factions that are involved. We know the IGs that are involved. We know the Cho Ayaba faction. We know the faction of this guy Sako and Chris Anu, the one that called for 3 weeks, goes down. We know the faction that, in fact, the guys on the ground, the fighters on the ground, who do their own audios and then send through social media. And you know the danger involved each time our people get this. The issue is everyone around the board is mixed. There's a mix up somewhere because there is no true leadership. No one is coming out. No one has been conferred that. Unlike the 2017 end of 2017 and 18, where we had Siseko Ayoktabe and his team, who were the outright leaders of the struggle. The government, with its insensitivity, took them and kept in Konenge and jail term, live jail term on them. If these guys are the people who were portraying the real light of the whole setup of the Anglophone guys, if you had taken these guys for a dialogue, wouldn't have been here. But now, because of what happened, the government has also opened traps where we have different groups of people coming up. The groupings are too much, and as we speak, new ones are developing. Have you read on social media, one of the activists telling us on social media that they are planning to bring in 10 more activists to ensure that they destabilize the whole process. So government has decided to be very unwise. No reasons is, no strategy is applied to the format to protect people. And the people too have been very confused. I'm talking about the separatist leaders. They have been very confused. They lack strategy as well. Who suffers? These two elephants fight. The grass suffer. And the people are only endorsing the works of the separatists. So people are respecting the separatists at this level. Not because they like the ideas which they bring, not because they like 10 days, 3 weeks. It's because they are so crossed with the regime. They hate the regime of the government of Cameroon to a fault, so much that they prefer to shoot their own leg. They prefer to shoot their own brothers just because they want to show you that they are angry with you. And the regime too, if you actually had the people at heart, these are people who are asking for dialogue. You should give them dialogue, not military.
Okay.
You should not give them military protection because they don't want military protection.
Tamfu Jones, this decision to call for a lockdown in these two regions for 2 weeks, some people say 3 weeks, is it working in favor of those who are calling for it? Is it a workable strategy?
You know, in a war,
because this is not the first lockdown.
In a war, anything that, as they say in French, tous les coups sont permis. Anything that you can do for the enemy to feel pains is accepted. Those guys, the lockdown will not be beneficiary neither to the government, neither to the people. I don't know if it will be beneficiary to them. Maybe they must have shown their prowess or their control over the zone. That could be beneficiary to them. But for the people on the ground, I think that they will be living hell, because when we talk about this lockdown, it means that people have to buy food, stock in their houses, which they will consume within this period. How many of the people on ground can afford to buy food and stock? So you see suffering already coming up. And as for the government will suffer economic crisis, because you people can agree with me that for the past 3 years, Cameroon's economy is nothing to write home about. So that is for the consequences on the government. So the benefit of this shutdown is only to the separatists and no.
When you say the benefit is to the separatists, what do they benefit? Because I'm sure they are fighting for the people. They're fighting for the people. What do they benefit?
They really benefit, because my brother talked of more than 8 factions.
Yeah.
Somebody sits behind a computer, sits in his room, because he has a trademark name and so on, claims to be a leader. Some of them are not worth the salt. So going in line with the frustrations of the people can attract you a few more sympathizers. But the truth is that they benefit. How do they benefit? They said they wanted to make the government bleed. The government is bleeding. Will you reach a stage where the government is forced to dialogue? We don't know. So it's very, very important.
This is not the first lockdown. What did they benefit from the previous lockdowns?
The ability, what they claim is that their ability to show the government that they don't control the zone.
They have control over the zone.
Yes.
That is it.
For them, it's like some sort of publicity, some sort of victory. And my brother said something which is very important. The anger of the people is such that should an enemy even come to blame the government, say let's join and shoot our legs, they will shoot it before realizing the consequences. So the government promised dialogue. It did not work. It may still come. The Prime Minister promised dialogue. The same night he was leaving, the Minister of the Examination said something else. So the people are saying, but what do you really want?
Now, you say they are winning because they want to show, even you.
Yes.
They want to show.
No, they are not really winning. They have some points that they can show. They cannot really be winning. They have.
Now, what is the interest of the common man, the mother who is selling huckleberry in Bomenda, the trader who is in Camber, in Du? What is their interest in this lockdown?
Their interest is negative. Be it the Ambazonian, be it government, nobody cares about these women. I mean, there are certain things that I would like us to be frank about. We all know that at the center of all these things is what we call dialogue and peace. So how do you think you care for this vulnerable group of people? These girls who keep on suffering, the women who keep on suffering, the children who keep on dying. Somebody says that he is fighting for the interests of the people, when you just need a simple sit on the round table and discuss. And we're not talking about a round table which is teacher to students, like we had it in Bamenda and in Boya. We're talking about a round table that is with equal voices, where you have to accept to listen to things that you don't like, where you must be ready to pay damages for what you did. We're talking about a dialogue where we have to say, I am sorry. And that's where the problem is from. So nobody is happy, neither with the Ambazonians nor with government per se, for one simple reason. None of the two groups have been able to bring normalcy. The person who thinks that calling for 3 weeks and then kidnapping children who think they're going to school Is he doing good to the people? No. The government on the side who thinks that I am the one in charge. Yes, you are the one in charge by virtue of your constitutional right and your sovereignty. But now, what goes down? Are people happy? No. You leave Bamenda from Queen, from my 1, from my 2. Right off the bamboo, you have 8 major control posts. And within those major control posts, none of them checks even documents. No, what is behind? What they do is they get the money. We are saying that at the end of the day,
can we get back to what we are discussing? Where is the interest of the people in this lockdown? We are talking about lockdown. We are not talking about
all these things. Yeah. All these things are corresponding issues that come up to align with what we are talking about lockdown. What do we do, Leo?
When you call for a lockdown, my question is: when you call for a lockdown, how does that benefit the people that you're fighting for?
You'll be surprised to know that the people enjoy it.
Okay.
To an extent.
Can you let us know how they benefit from it?
Yeah, look at it this way. They are not happy with the lockdown. They're also disappointed with the government. That does not bring the solutions. There should have been some sort of, even some fake dialogue to give hope. People just want that people should sit around the table and talk. So they're asking. Because, as you said, things are not getting better. The grievances and so on, things are not getting better. People are asking. You said you solved the problems. So why not sit on the table again? Where are the solutions? So as things are not getting better, people become, those who were doubting the initial problems, they now see reason to sympathize with those who call for the lockdown.
Even when the lockdown is not in their favor?
It's not in their favor, but every morning you have.
But you said people are living, but men are living.
But we have to. I don't want to steal this show at this point. Because I like stealing it for obvious reasons. We have to be very clear. The lockdown is not going to give anybody independence.
Okay.
We are coming to that. Yes,
it's not going to give anybody independence, but I think
it's killing people.
I'm agreeing with Ms. Santifo that the population, they like it at a certain level, and that's very, very true. Because no matter the number that are living, there are people who are still there, and also those that are living are okay with the lockdown, because they find themselves in a situation where they say when you are drowning, even you see the tail of a snake.
My reporter in Boya Kumba and Bumenda say people are living. That all the agencies are jam-packed with.
It's not
in my quarter day before yesterday, we saw a group of boys and girls in their teens. That is teenage guys who are running, who are sleeping around Bunamusa. Do you mean that they are happy doing that?
They are happy doing that because who are they running from? That's the question we should first of all ask. Because at the beginning of this crisis.
No, who are they running from?
I'm coming to who are they running from? From what I will say, you analyze it yourself.
Okay, yeah.
The security men, that means the military, was sent to Bamenda to ensure the safety of life and property. Now, if with their presence, life and property is not safe, then who is bringing the trouble? You realize that in the north, when the Boko Haram came in, the people were collaborating with the military men, giving them information about the Boko Haram, and the military are succeeding there. But then in the northwest, it's not the case.
I'm sorry to say no, but nobody is benefiting from any lockdown. There is no advantage. Nobody is.
They're not benefiting, but what I will tell you is that we have the people of the north and the south have found themselves in the situation where they say when you are drowning, you can even hold the tail of a snake in the to survive.
Tamfu.
Yes.
The park in Kumba was jam-packed yesterday. People were fleeing from Kumba. They're fleeing from Bomenda because of the lockdown. And you say it is the military. Is it the military that has called for it?
I didn't say
that's
what
you just said.
It's not because of the lockdown.
People have been living the place before the lockdown.
I've had videos 3 weeks ago. Say if you send a child to a school, acid. If you are going to work, we'll kill you. They're running down because of the amber. The amber.
Okay.
They have terrible videos.
Okay.
If they are running because of the amber, does that mean that the military is
running because of the amber?
Because the military cannot ensure the life and security of the people.
Mbakujut, why are the people fleeing from the northwest and southwest region?
Okay, let's be categorical. The people who are living in these regions, it's not like they don't enjoy the fact. Some people really enjoy the fact that the lockdown is there. But they have to live for security reason. That's something else. You know, security first. There are people who, for the sake of, you know, it's not like they don't like what is happening, but they just have to run. You know, they have become refugees in their own land. So why, we are talking all this, you know, the days of ghost town are the most perilous days to stay anywhere on that territory. Those days declared, those 3 weeks, in fact, the 10 days that I served indoors in Bamenda that was declared, those are the most dangerous, in fact, Mondays too. Those are the most dangerous days to walk around town or to stay in Bamenda, in the Anglophone part of this country. Because on the streets, if you are to step out to get drugs, you will not get it anywhere. If you are to go to the hospital, you will not have medical attention anywhere. You can't get any taxi or a bike to take you anywhere. You are stuck indoor. Security-wise, the streets are being paraded by military and armored cars on those days. And the only people whom you can find on the street battling with the military are the armed boys. Meaning that if we were to see any other person on the street, they shoot him at the point. So those are the most dangerous days. If you don't have food in the house, you're also in trouble. So with all this piled up, the best thing some people can do is run out of that part of the country for a while. You know, just run into Douala, run into into Bafoussam, Yaoundé, Betwa, and wait. After 3 weeks, you know, the 15,000 or 10,000 you pay for your life out of it, it's better than all what is happening.
You have 10 children. Is it easy to feed them? Hello, good evening. I'm called Andy from Moliko Boya. This government claims to have the people at heart, but in a single, your message is not clear. I see you still typing the message. Hello, sir. I like your program. I think the lockdown here is just to show the government that there is no democracy in this country, though is to our disadvantage. It's Manka from Bamenda. She says it's to their disadvantage. And my best school is the H Bilingual Nursery and Primary School, Sodiko Bonaberi. While I love it because it is very clean and comfortable for learning. The teachers are well trained, warm to the kids and welcoming to the parents. The gate man is just the best at his job when it comes to security. The activities of the school are always outstanding as compared to others that I know. I wouldn't choose any other for any reason. Madam Ngaliwa Solange from Bamenda. I need to visit this H school that is so much talked about by our televiewers of this program. This one says, I'm sorry to say that the government is benefiting on this crisis. This one says, this is Chu Elvis from Bamenda. The people calling for the lockdown should come to ground zero. They are just making their money. This one says, lockdown is the answer to a stubborn regime. This one says, I'm Tabot Machiavelli watching live from Facebook. The lockdown will play so much on the common people who are in between crossfire from the two camps. But now after expose this lies telling, are the fighters and the people on the ground still listen to Mark Barretta and cohorts? Okay, Tabot Machiavelli. Please, when is the lockdown beginning? Okay, I'm sure we are not the official mouthpiece to announce lockdown. Good evening to you all. I'm Mebu Abraham in Boya. To my best of knowledge, I think things are happening the way they want to happen and will end the way they have to end. How can the government be calling for school resumption? And as I'm talking now, 170 military are in Isu, shooting for two. Okay, we move over to the newsroom with Emilienne Gobasong, Madame Wemi,
One of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA, and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
De l'inédit au Cameroun, le tout premier collège canadien ouvre ses portes dès septembre 2019. Performance Education Center, en partenariat avec les grandes écoles canadiennes, offre aux élèves du second cycle un cadre prestigieux, calme et propice pour des études avec des enseignants chevronnés canadiens et camerounais. À Performance Education Center, obtenez le baccalauréat canadien, vous ouvrant automatiquement les portes des plus grandes universités canadiennes et du monde via les bourses d'études garanties. Performance Education Center propose également des programmes de formation bilingue de 2 ans permettant d'obtenir un permis de travail au Canada après obtention d'une attestation d'études collégiales du Québec équivalent du BTS sous l'assistance de Performance Immigration Canada. Performance Education Center est situé à Locbessou, derrière Antenne CRTV, 10e avenue. Performance Education Center, visa vers le Canada et le monde.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. Plaisir renouvelé de vous retrouver ce soir pour votre journal du soir sur My Media Prime Télévision. À la une de cette édition, les Nations Unies ont récemment honoré les survivants du terrorisme, leur redonnant ainsi l'espoir de recommencer à nouveau leur vie malgré leurs expériences dévastatrices. Certains acteurs du football ont réagi par rapport à la suspension de la Ligue camerounaise du football par la FECAFOOT. Voilà, c'était tout pour les titres. À présent, le journal complet. Les Nations Unies ont récemment honoré les survivants du terrorisme et ont pris des mesures pour que ceux-ci puissent à nouveau recommencer leur vie malgré leurs expériences dévastatrices. Cependant, malgré les efforts menés année après année par différents gouvernements, cette crise de terrorisme semble ne pas vouloir s'arrêter. Les détails dans le reportage de Fetata en langue anglaise.
The International Day for Remembrance of and Tribute to the Victims of Terrorism was recently commemorated by the United Nations under the umbrella of the UN Global Counter-Terrorism Strategy that seeks to provide solidarity, capacity building, and establishing networks to individuals whose lives have been affected by terrorist attacks in their respective countries. In Cameroon and most African countries, the uprising of terrorism and terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab have often been associated to poor governance.
We need to believe and we need to agree on one thing, that terrorism is as a result of bad governance by the leaders of a particular country. If we have that agreement on that, then we will move further to talk about the terrorism law enacted in Yaoundé in 2014. In my opinion, I will tell you honestly that as a civilist, that particular law works against all democratic tenets.
As world organizations sympathize with victims of terrorism, combating the problem should stem from the genesis.
Terrorism cannot come to an end because terrorism is a corresponding result of bad governance and injustice. And you will believe Africa, which we know, and Cameroon in particular, is an epitome of injustice, bad governance on the people. By that law and by any other means imaginable, terrorism cannot come to an end. We do not even have terrorists in Cameroon.
While reports from the United Nations show more countries are affected by terrorism today, it is important that member states revisit the aftermath of terrorist attacks, ensuring victims reconstruct their lives, as this year's celebration indicates.
L'année scolaire 2019-2020 a été officiellement lancée à Kumba par le délégué régional de l'éducation de base sur le thème « Un environnement favorable pour l'acquisition des compétences nécessaires à la perspective du développement durable ». Tamfoussi Doua nous en dit plus dans son reportage.
220 today, the 22nd of August 2019 here at the City Council Hall.
The 2019-2020 academic year has been launched in Kumba, Cameroon this Thursday, 22nd August 2019. A cross-section of teachers and head of educational institutions from the basic education sector met at the Kumba City Council to chart ways for an effective back-to-school 2019-2020. Welcoming participants, the divisional delegate for basic education, Madame Tuba Beatrice, expressed a lot of worries about what should be considered for an effective academic year.
Absenteeism, laxity were noticed in some of our schools and offices. May these attitudes.
She stated that the armed conflict has led to the death of so many teachers and students in the division, and some have been displaced to other regions for fears of the armed battles. However, she also called on the state to ensure security as the new academic year unfolds. On his part, the first Assistant Senior Divisional Officer for Meme stated that the government will ensure an effective resumption of schools in the division. While encouraging teachers to prepare well and resume classes, he equally called on them to preach peace to the youth who have taken up arms to fight as Ambazonia fighters in the division. On how to effectively start the school year, journalists were asked to move out of the hall, while the teachers chatted on in-house issues to better prepare themselves ahead of the challenging beginning of the academic year. It should be noted that the 5 mayors in Meme division were all absent, even though they were invited to the meeting.
Difficile rentrée scolaire pour les épargnants d'une microfinance à Douala. Les cotisants réclament leur cotisation journalière alors que la banque a fermé ses portes malheureusement. Les précisions dans le reportage de Charles Fisselangue.
Des microfinances accusées d'abus de confiance au Cameroun, cela ne relève plus de l'inédit. Ces hommes et femmes qui ont choisi de faire le pied de grue ici au tribunal de Ndokoti ce 22 août, où sont entendus les dirigeants de la NC Finance qu'ils accusent d'abus de confiance, espèrent une décision qui leur permettra de rentrer en possession de leur cotisation journalière. C'est ici au quartier Ndogbo à Douala, dans la direction générale de NC Finance, qu'est certainement caché le mystère de l'argent de ces épargnants. Hélas, la porte condamnée à l'aide d'un cadenas confirme la fermeture de cette structure. Une curieuse note affichée à l'entrée de cette entreprise d'épargne tente de donner les raisons de cet arrêt brusque. Dans ce communiqué, visiblement sans papier en tête ni cachet, mais pourtant signé, on laisse entendre que la NC Finance est momentanément fermée suite à un braquage et vandalisme de certains épargnants. La note signale d'importants matériels emportés, carnets des clients et autres. Ce qui, selon eux, est la principale raison de l'arrêt temporaire de leurs activités. Une raison que dit faux Charlie, le voisin de la microfinance et par ailleurs le premier épargnant, qui réclame la somme d'1 million, refuse d'entendre de la bonne oreille. Pour lui, comme beaucoup d'autres Camerounais, ils ont été entraînés dans une escroquerie bien orchestrée.
Je suis à côté même, donc je suis même le premier client de NC. Comme je parle, je suis le premier client en toutes choses. Cette convention passée là-bas, il y a plusieurs types de comptes. Il y a d'abord la collecte journalière. Il y a le compte de 6 mois, le compte bloqué de 6 mois. Il y a le compte d'un an, qui est la convention forest. Donc après un an, tu viens, tu prends tout ton montant et puis les intérêts, oui. Ils nous ont donné la possibilité de prendre les intérêts même avant même les 1 an. Mais on est surpris que après avoir déposé cette somme, après quelques temps, ils viennent nous notifier qu'ils reconnaissent qu'ils nous doivent l'argent. Finalement, on ne comprend pas. Quand ils déposaient l'argent, le dossier n'était pas là. Pourquoi essayer de déposer l'argent? On vient maintenant, on passe par derrière, on me notifie par un dossier de justice. Et ça, c'est normal. Ce n'est pas normal. Donc ça veut dire que c'est un coup qui a été préparé depuis. Vous comprenez ce que je dis? C'est un coup qui a été préparé depuis. Parce que présentement, c'est fermé. Même s'il faut que je revendique que c'est la date au 14 juillet 2020. Oh, c'est déjà fermé. Et vous poursuivez qui?
300 millions représenterait encore nos sources la somme des cotisations de ces épargnants qui en ce moment ne savent plus à quel sein se vouer, surtout en cette période de rentrée scolaire.
Même si on ne nous donne pas l'argent, il y aura une dépense.
C'est ça justement le véritable problème.
C'est ça. Il y aura une récompense.
Bon, et ce qui est mauvais maintenant, c'est que les gens font les choses comme ça retombe sur les enfants. C'est ça le véritable problème. C'est ce qui n'est pas bien.
Au moment où nous quittons les lieux, certains agents de cette entreprise interpellés par la gendarmerie étaient en audition au tribunal de Ndokoti, alors que les épargnants promettaient de rencontrer le gouverneur si rien n'était fait en leur faveur.
Le Premier ministre chef du gouvernement, son Excellence Joseph John Ngouté, a inauguré hier le centre médical de commandement de la surveillance vidéo situé au quartier Etoudi à Yaoundé. Plus de détails dans le reportage de Lasha Kingsley.
The National Command Center for Video Surveillance, located at Etoudi in the nation's political capital Yaoundé, has been inaugurated. The center was inaugurated this Thursday by the Prime Minister, Head of Government, Chief Dr. Joseph John Ngouté. The center will serve as the brain box capable of instantly dictating crimes, traffic accidents, or any other form of civil disorder likely to trigger the prompt intervention of the police. With the analytical processing of data by artificial intelligence, crowds will no longer be anonymous as each image is captured real-time with facial recognition algorithms enriched by information collected from different platforms. Vehicles will be identified with their number plates thanks to the most sophisticated software that can also dictate human actions and predict harmful behaviors. Henceforth, it will be possible to put in place a data bank for individual files relating to crimes committed in public places, essential technological data that can be used by the security and defense forces within the framework of judicial investigations, maintenance of peace and order, or territorial surveillance.
Les populations du village d'Eyan et Chobi, situé à près de 8 km de Montfait, n'ont pas cessé de décrier depuis un bon bout l'état déplorable de leur route. Ils lancent donc un appel au gouvernement pour une amélioration de ces routes. Les précisions dans le reportage d'Icom et Christine Onwela.
With the present fine nature of the Kumba-Manfe road, which has regained its glory and made traveling easier, it is important to note that some areas in Manfe are still experiencing hell when it comes to accessible roads. Situated some 8 kilometers from Manfe is the Eyang Eshobi village located in Manu Division, southwest region of the country, where the deteriorating nature of the roads cannot be left unnoticed. The roads have even become worse, especially with the presence of the heavy rains. This was glaring with the very strong and swift military vehicles who could not withstand the devastating nature of the Eyang Eshobi road. Inhabitants in the area have complained of movements along the terrible roads. Some say in the past one could not spend more than 30 minutes on the road, but as at the moment, especially with the bad roads, spending a whole day is an understatement. The business community are also in severe pains as they go through a lot of difficulties in transporting their produce to and from the Eshobi road.
The way the road day, it be very difficult for we, the people, to carry their goods, like especially cocoa, other crops, banana, plantain for go sell and for Manfe, it be very difficult. Because before one person want take bike for go Manfe, it be not be easy. Now 2,000 francs for go, only for the head, then the cocoa. So they make what crops everything is rotted for bush. So we not get no source, we not get other way, we get this revenue. So now only through that way.
While others complain of the high transportation fare levied on them due to the bad roads, others say the situation is worse than one can imagine.
We not get no road. We a young Eshobi will be under stress. We not get no road. No way, no day. No way. We will suffer here plenty. Come up from Africa reach for we Eshobi a young. It not be possible. Very risky road. The road not fine. Even if na moto, even our boys want to drive at least. We no day.
According to the second deputy mayor at the Manfe Council, Princely Ojong, the council has done much and is still doing a lot to make the Eshobi road accessible.
Principally here in Eshobi locality, the council has done much. Like in 2017, that machine was burnt along the road. The work stopped. That contract, we don't even know at what level it is now, but the council had to do something last 3 months to make the road accessible until you guys could make it here.
Nonetheless, the indigenes of the Eyong Eshobi community have pleaded on the Cameroon government to see into their plight so that they can equally enjoy good roads like other communities do.
We beg government may intervene for the road, may they try Gradeway road, which will get fine road. When I see the stress, even person forcing now, say may they carry them for go hospital. It not be easy. First time we carry them for head. Because you want work go reach the person fit die for road because our road not fine.
Despite the bad roads, it is important to state that inhabitants of Eshobi are living in peace and serenity as activities are on like never before and things have returned to normal.
En sport, certains acteurs de football ont réagi par rapport à la suspension de la Ligue de football camerounaise par la Fédération camerounaise de football. Pour certains d'entre eux, la décision de la FECAFOOT est une initiative louable parce qu'elle permettra de remettre en place les racines du football camerounais. Plus de précisions avec Metougue Stanley dans son reportage.
The decision by FECAFOOT to suspend the Cameroon Professional Football League till further notice came like a bombshell to many football actors in Cameroon. The communique signed by FECAFOOT's boss Seydou Mbombon Joyam after the football body's executive committee meeting that lasted for 4 hours 55 minutes on Thursday states in its resolution 3 that the Cameroon Professional Football League has been suspended after violating Article 14, Section 1A of FECAFOOT statutes and Article 2 of the league's statutes. To some football actors, the move is good, though tough.
Suspending the league's management body in Cameroon is a very, very tough decision from the powers that be. But many are those who have fouled LFPC upon for the last 6 years now, who think that LFPC have not given back to footballers the kind of organization and management that we anticipated before they are coming. And like you noticed from the release from the release after the executive committee meetings yesterday, the suspension is not based on emotions. They have assessed the way the league is run and they have realized that a good number of articles that are supposed to be respected by the league management body are ignored, and it's only normal that when we have laws, we use them when need be.
FECAFOOT committed to suspend the Cameroon Professional Football League. You see that it's a decision that has been in the making because the management of football, especially at the League 1 and 2 levels in Cameroon for the past 8 to 6 years under the league has not been the best.
With the immediate effect of LFPC suspension, football actors have challenged FECAFOOT to do everything as soon as possible for the new football season to kick off in Cameroon.
I am also recommending that those who inked this decision should take better decisions or take actions as soon as possible to have our footballers go back to the field of play, to have Cameroon football develop competitive players and why not competitive football clubs. Remember, we've not won continental title for more than 30 years now.
I think the way forward is for the parties to sit down and see how they can decide on what they want to do about Cameroon football, especially the League 1 and 2 championship, and the way forward out of this crisis, because everything can be done.
In response to the FECAFOOT decision, LFPC President General Pierre Semenge, in a communique, has watered down the suspension, saying that he was not invited, though a statutory member of the FECAFOOT Bureau. He also accuses the Mbombon-Joya-led FECAFOOT for not carving out half of 410 million CFA francs, which they are supposed to give the league at the start of every football season. The battle line between these two football administration has just been drawn. Let's wait and see.
Voilà, c'était tout pour l'édition de ce soir. Rappel des titres, les Nations Unies ont récemment honoré les victimes du terrorisme, leur redonnant ainsi l'espoir de recommencer leur vie malgré leurs expériences dévastatrices. Certains acteurs du football ont réagi par rapport à la suspension de la Ligue de football camerounaise par la FECAFOOT. Mesdames et messieurs, c'était tout pour l'édition du journal de ce soir, produite par Metouke Stanley, réalisée par Ewane Elay. Au micro de présentation, j'étais Emilienne Wami. Rendez-vous lundi pour de nouvelles informations. Bonsoir.
Being one of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
De l'inédit au Cameroun, le tout premier collège canadien ouvre ses portes dès septembre 2019. Performance Education Center, en partenariat avec les grandes écoles canadiennes, offre aux élèves du second cycle un cadre prestigieux, calme et propice pour des études avec des enseignants chevronnés canadiens et camerounais. À Performance Education Center, obtenez le baccalauréat canadien, vous ouvrant automatiquement les portes des plus grandes universités canadiennes et du monde via les bourses d'études garanties. Performance Education Center propose également des programmes de formation bilingue de 2 ans permettant d'obtenir un permis de travail au Canada après obtention d'une attestation d'études collégiales du Québec équivalent du BTS sous l'assistance de Performance Immigration Canada. Performance Education Center est situé à Locbessou, derrière Antenne CRTV, 10e avenue. Performance Education Center, visa vers le Canada et le monde.
Welcome back. Thank you, Emilienne Wami, for that news cast. We continue with our discussions out here in our studios at Fengudrambange in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital, with our panelists who are in the house. I start all over with you, Tamfu Jones. 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and a host of other weeks and days announced for a lockdown in the Northwest and Southwest region by pro-independence activists. How does this advance the cause called the struggle?
People have been calling for dialogue. International community have called for dialogue. They themselves are ready for dialogue because that's what everyone is waiting for. They did not bargain to fight for the whole of their lives. No, they wanted to press where it pays more so that the government will react and maybe call for dialogue, and then they come and sit down to discuss their differences. So the lockdown is just another way of expressing their anger to the government, and another way also to mount pressure on the government to call for a real, genuine dialogue. So I think that it's an advancement for them because they're also trying to show the government that they have a hold on the ground. That means they have power over the Northwest and the Southwest, which they are controlling. If they call for dialogue and the people respect, it means that they are in charge. So is
Are the people respecting or they're afraid?
We don't want to know if they are respecting or they are afraid of what will happen after. But if they are afraid and the government cannot ensure their safety, cannot send away fear from them, it means that
we've had previous lockdowns. How has that advanced the course from where it started? When you look at the struggle since 2016, and we've had a series of lockdowns, what has actually changed?
It's difficult to say. Those who call for the lockdowns are best placed.
No,
to,
you observe. You see.
Yes.
You see the struggle.
Yes.
What is changing because of the lockdowns?
What I think.
Are they winning more international sympathy?
I think the lockdown perhaps was not really necessary. Why? I will go back to those on the ground, the Amber boys on the ground. They were saying there will be no school. We knew that tactics hit and run. When they hit and run, the military will come and will more confusion. So the lockdown complicates the whole thing to the extent that the average man will suffer, the people will suffer, and we know people back home, people back in that zone, they don't have means to stock food. So it's quite disturbing.
Okay, it's quite disturbing. Is this lockdown advancing the cause in any way?
It's not advancing any cause. Rather, that's why I started earlier by saying that I don't even understand why people keep on talking about the struggle. What are we struggling for? Are we strangling the people or we are struggling? And if you want to achieve something that is genuine, do you have to struggle? Or are we saying that the strategy they used is not the best? I'm presently doing a paper, an academic paper on the impact of lockdowns, the shutdowns, the ghost town, on the socio-economic and political activities of those in the Northwest and Southwest regions. And so far, the information I'm getting from the informants are in different forms, which is visible, but it's good to be documented. First, in terms of businesses are being grounded. Some people have either stopped operating or they have changed their places. We have startups, important startups, IT startups, that were existing in the Northwest and in the Southwest. These guys have taken them to different regions or they have either crumbled because it is difficult for them to handle. At the level of the hospitals, it is difficult for basic hospital needs to be given to people. People die on their way because it's difficult for them to have access to transportation to those particular places where they need treatment. You go to the level of education, which is what we have been singing over the years. It is instead more dangerous. You look at the statistics, they are so much in such a way that it is difficult for us to put in place. And then at the end of the day, this is what I'm asking myself. Where are we heading to? What are the benefits of the lockdown? The central administration in Yaoundé is not affected by any lockdown. People stay unable to eat. I have children, they are in the house from morning till morning. They switch from one channel to the other. There's nothing that makes them productive or think. One other phenomenon that is coming so friendly but dangerous is pregnancy. You have young girls who prefer to go on lockdown weekends to their boyfriends. The implication is that we have pregnancy cases that are being reported. We have all kinds of things that are coming up. It is not beneficial. Whoever is fighting, fight the devil, don't fight the people. They say the details, if you want to get the details of everything, you have to understand it from the point of view of the people. The people are not happy with the lockdown because this canker worm is not helping us to advance our ideas. And Leo, maybe I can end at this particular level to say we have ignored from government level to parental level to look at this necessary evil called the social media. And it has crumbled economies, it has crumbled democracies, it has crumbled regimes. Yes, but we have to be very careful. We must start thinking of how do we handle the aspect of regulation. Wherever these things are coming from, like I said earlier, there is misinformation, there is misinformation, there is disinformation. And the highest is that we have the highest level of propaganda which has to do with complete evil lies. It's no longer even partisan even. It's complete lies where you don't even see an atom of truth in it. There is no economic, political, or social benefit that we get from lockdowns. Rather, it's the misery that we get. So if those fighting for separation of Cameroon, if they don't have a better strategy, please, I think I would say it's more than them.
Now,
we cannot sacrifice the interest of the people
say that, okay,
on lockdown.
Can we conclude from what is obtaining that the loan strategy that the separatists have goes down lockdown?
They have lockdown. They have the complete refusal for school resumption. Those are the trump cards which they are using.
Yeah.
But let me.
But I want to quote one of I want to quote the Coffin Revolution leader, Mancho BBC, who today says that this lockdown only goes counterproductive on the poor, because the rich people can easily remove their children from whatever affected area in the northwest and southwest region, and that for schools, the rich equally are able to take their children, and it's only the poor mothers and fathers who cannot afford who will suffer.
Mantra is making a very salient point, which I advanced in one of my 10 points on why school should resume on my Educate Them Now movement, advocating for the respect of rights of education of those children. I think but just before I come to that, Leo, let me just cue this in from Gilles so that it does not escape my mind.
Okay.
You asked how the lockdowns are benefiting those guys who call for them. Now listen, there's this feeling, there's this idea, this thought, which they have. They think that by creating an atmosphere of total confusion, anarchy, and a situation where there is total panic, they could really truly invite the sympathy of the international community. Unfortunately, that same international community, since 2016 that the crisis started, we've been hoping that the international community that is highly trumpeted will come to our rescue. Every day they keep saying that we are concerned. They know that things are happening. We are concerned about what is happening. But where is they keep holding meetings, maybe in the Senate, but where is our point of intervention? So these guys feel that when they do this, it will keep inviting more and more of such sympathy. But truly, why you invite that sympathy? The people on ground, you are inviting it because you can sit in your house in US, in Belgium, in China, in Switzerland, wherever, and eat well. You can sit on your computer and do your business and go back to the street at any point, drive a good car along good roads. You don't think on how it affects the people down, because the people on ground, God knows, these are the people who pay the real price. They pay the price, not the guys, not the regime administrators in Yaoundé. Their children have moved. They have taken their children out of the northwest and the southwest region. The business people who are well-to-do, they have taken their children out of, the children that suffer? And those are the children whose right we are fighting to protect. Because these children, they do not know what is happening. It's true that they sacrificed some years. They've sacrificed 1, 2, 3 years. Why should we continue? These children, they suffer the same effect. They suffer torture. They suffer harassment like you and I in that region. Why again should you torture them on education? So you realize that, like Mancho is saying, truly the rich have evacuated those regions. The children of the administrators, they have evacuated. Children of well-to-do pastors, they have gone. Children of well-to-do business tycoon and all that. The people who are left on ground zero are those who have no way to live, because if you have a way, you have to leave that place. Nobody likes to stay in the war zone. So the people who are left there are children of bike riders who are unable to even feed them. They are children of tomato sellers who are unable to evacuate those areas. They are children of those fighters, those Ambazonian fighters. Their own children are trapped in that situation, and they cannot also move. So, but who should speak for these children? Who should stand proxy on them to say that you are violating? I mean, there are very poor people in those regions who cannot live. So these are the people, when we talk like this, when we criticize such, you should not just call for a lockdown because of the fun for it, because you just want to feel excited and sit somewhere, you're sipping wine and call for 3 weeks lockdown. Like Big Brother was saying there, well, we know that the Monday is there. Somebody even opined some time ago that if you had a good intention for lockdown and you wanted to crumble schools, actually, You would have said that, well, lockdown should begin at 7 and end at 12. They will understand that, okay, this person actually wants to crumble schools. But when you say that for 3 weeks, people should stay indoors, I don't understand if you actually worship God. Because if you worship God, you even give us a Sunday, you give us worship days on Bible study lesson days on Wednesday to go and worship God. We should do things with human conscience. Let's not just be excited for independence. You want to get independent, but you should respect the rights of other people to life, the right to food, the right to health, and other things.
And like you said, Leo, for those who are not aware, some of these guys have. That's why I said this country needs spiritual revival. I'm not a man of God, but I think that we are all brought up with the apostlehood from Christ. People have put themselves into spiritual areas, devilish areas. They have signed accords with the devil. It is difficult. We need something divine, prudence, to be able to come out from this level of craziness.
Okay, I am Mr. Abang. I don't support the lockdown. It kills the economy of the southwest and northwest. I tell the Christ, I know he comes from Libialem, the poorest division in Cameroon. He is just being not serious, okay? This one say, this one says, this is Elvis Cho from Bamenda. If the lockdown was good, why are the people who are asking for the lockdown are sending their family members to Yaoundé and Douala? Good evening to you all. My name is Ebong Ivo. My best school is GBHS Tombel. Mr. Ndechwa deserves a medal for his strong discipline in that school. Thank you. Prophet Mbanda Manfred in Douala. I love your program so much. God bless you all. You and more grace to you all. My best school is GHS Bokwango. Hello, I like your program. Lockdown are of no importance to the northwest and southwest regions, though it is a means of sending information to all the people that people are not pleased with the current regime. Please, Mr. Kuma, part of lockdown, are there other possible methods of these fighters to express their grievances? Stanley is writing from Limbe. Gentle, watching from Boya, says, hello, Leo. Before the life sentence of Sisisiku and other people in Northwest and Southwest were already prepared for school, but what happened just 2 weeks to the school's resumption in this part of the country? I fear high death rates in this part of the country within this lockdown period, and even who should be blamed. Okay, Gentle, thank you. Special greetings to you all in the studio. To me, though it's of our own disadvantage, but we have no choice than to respect the ghost town, because I sometimes see hope in this calling for lockdown, though without means too. But I'm at Bonaberry now, because in my own place, boys are targeted for military, so I'm sorry to say that there is hope ahead. There is hope ahead while we are hiding in Bonaberry, that there is hope ahead and not from the government. My best school is GBHS SUP in South Northwest region. Victor wins from Kai. Kai is in Momo division. Good evening. I think the lockdown is beneficial to the fighters because they use that to prove to the government that they command the area. Thanks. Fidelis is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you all. We know there is nothing we get from the ghost town. It has serious effects on both the common man and the government. If anyone disputes this, then he should explain why some mayors are mad. The ghost town helps to keep the revolution alive, though it might be invisible to some people. I, for one, is affected by it, but I fully endorse it. The struggle must be alive. Nelson is writing from Moliko in Boya. There is no war without a winner and a loser. I think it's high time they surrender to the central government. And I believe from there the dialogue process will begin. But if they are resisting, then we are going to be in hell. Thanks, okay? Hello, Bruce. I had a discussion today with 2 civil servants. They are very happy with the lockdown because they will concentrate to cultivate their groundnut since this is the period. Please acknowledge me at the end, okay? Anduba Cletus. Thank you. The lockdown will make the Biya regime know that lockdown It's the answer to a stubborn regime. It benefits nobody, but government loses more in terms of taxes and wasting of petrol for the military tank. Samuel is writing from Kumba. Greetings to you all. I think the lockdown is in the interest of those who called for it. Lockdown or no lockdown, there is already a problem. This one is just inconveniences. Sandra is writing from Limbe. You've listened to the messages. Many people think that some people think that it is not beneficial to them. When you ask people to lock down for 3 weeks, that they should stock their homes, what do they use to stock their homes with? Most of them don't have fridges. How do they survive?
This is like the North and the South. Many people don't have fridges, and it's not because of the lockdown that we start thinking of that. What I will say is that, as we all heard in the messages, some viewers are saying that they are being affected negatively by the lockdown, but they have no choice. They prefer the lockdown.
Yes, just two
Yes,
out of the many. Talk about those who also say that things are really bad on them.
Yeah, you know.
How do my question to you is, how do people really survive? Put yourself in their position.
When you ask me that question, so that question is so political, because I will go into the point that if not of survival, this crisis wouldn't have surfaced itself. It's because people were not surviving that some had to pick up guns and enter into the bushes. So if you have to blame that one on somebody, I think that the government should.
What are you saying?
I am saying that it's because people were hungry. Because this problem is not a problem of living together, it's a problem of eating together. So people feel cheated, and that's why we are where we are today. So if you want to blame it that because of the lockdown, people will not eat for 3 weeks. For how long have they not been eating? People have not been feeling fine for more than 50 years now. You will not come and say that 3 weeks is it will be, they will die within 3 weeks.
Are you endorsing the lockdown 3 weeks?
No, will you ask me a question and I'm giving you the answer? I'm analyzing the situation.
I'm asking you another question.
Yeah.
Since they have been surviving for 50 years, so they should survive 3 weeks lockdown.
If somebody has survived 50 years, I don't think that 3 weeks will kill the person.
I can only understand those who call for a lockdown. But I was thinking that the government should take advantage. Since there are conflicting signs from people calling abroad, people on the ground somehow are disappointed. Can the government now jump in to propose solutions, give some sort of amnesties to fighters, start by reconstructing the schools, tell the military to leave the streets and things like that? Can they start by doing that? The Ambas are already, some of them, very unpopular. Kidnappings, targeted kidnappings, threatening phone calls, and so on. It's unfortunate that in most villages, somebody dies here, for you to enter the village, you pay Amba. So the government should take advantage that, it's out of fear to a large extent that people follow Amba. Can the government now take advantage, introduce dialogue and introduce measures that people can even start believing in another devil?
Okay, call a lockdown for someone who was described as, because generally people are angry that Sisiko Ayub Tabe is sentenced, but we know that this is the same person who was impeached and said his personal non grata. He was described as somebody who is compromised by the government. How do we understand this?
The truth is, Leo, there is the people are caught.
It's politics.
It's politics, and the people are caught in between two extremes. The spirit of enlightenment among Anglophones had come to a certain level where they looked at Sisiko to be somebody with leadership, who they can listen to. They don't really care whether who is in charge of IG or is SG or is MN or whatever. The spirit around it was that this is somebody who started it and came at the forefront and sacrificed a lot and was seen as a figure. People don't really care. That's why you see that the sentencing has an adverse effect on back-to-school campaigns that we have been clamoring for. In simple terms, one of the ways you can eliminate lockdowns is to be able to handle the transport sector. With no transportation, there is no movement. That's why one of the arguments I used to bring it up in the Southwest, specifically in Boya, when it comes to my friend the mayor, I always advise that you cannot force people to open their stores. It is important for them to open their stores. But in terms of the business part of it, every day these drivers suffer intimidation, extortion from military officials in uniform during control post. At the end of the day, what they are supposed to take home is not high enough because you have to pay. These guys don't need whether you have the books or not, whether you have the documents or not. It is therefore going to be difficult for them to collaborate with you. So if we can handle the issue of transportation, first of all, bikes have already been banned. It becomes difficult. You don't expect somebody who is living in my 17 or my 18 or Moyoka or Moya, for instance, to travel from there right up to his job site, maybe at the governor's office or wherever it is. So it stems around the issue of transportation. If we are able to handle all these things, and why we have problems of collaboration, like you mentioned the idea of the Boko Haram, why we cannot collaborate like we did with the Boko Haram, where I even contributed food and money personally and said, let me support our brothers who were fighting in the far north. It is simply because the will to handle this crisis is not clear from the part of government. Whether we like it or not, the government is the primordial and the strong arm to be able to set the pace. And secondly, whatever the diasporans are thinking, they are killing the situation, they are killing people back home. There is no way forward. And if we are not able to examine ourselves and see that there is a cankerworm that is destroying the Anglophoneness, if we cannot start to understand the fact that we now see more English schools being advertised in Douala, in Yaoundé, in Bafoussam, we start understanding that the Anglophone tradition is being transported, and I put it that way, to this other side of the country, and that the effects we are going to see in 10 years, in 20 years to come, then I'm ready to say that we are very sorry. The only advantage that will emerge at the end of this crisis is that the Anglophone culture would have penetrated into all the tubo sites of what becomes a country called Cameroon. The only other advantage at the end of this crisis will be that Anglophones per se will be more bilingual. And then the next thing is that Anglophones will be able to be more entrepreneurial wise because they are going to learn the survival instincts. Just like we had it with the Bamileke people doing their own crisis. But at the end of the day, we have somebody in Yaoundé. We have the big man in Yaoundé. He has the key. Can't we just stop the killings?
Good evening to you all and your panel in the studio. Lockdown is a solidarity move for the things that are happening in Northwest and Southwest. Lockdown is not welcome. Unfortunately, you and I are bound to respect it the way it has been announced. Try to boycott it and see what the boys will do to you. Viaf Chamon, he says, my best school is GBHS Bomenda, that is Tamulung. Yeah. Greetings to you all. There is no need talking over and over, Leo. There is a problem that this country is facing. The only solution is a round table, if not I fear, for the fifth of our poor country. We knew small peace in Kumba, but since the jailing of the leaders, it's worsened the situation, because I see a very dark atmosphere because the war just starting. And to me, though the lockdown affects us, but let me not lie you, Leo, even your panelists there, more than half 80 of Anglophones are for. Okay, Metro Idris is writing from Kumba. Good evening to you, the panel in the studio. Introducing military in the crisis is a serious mistake. They are using us for personal gains. They arrest you. Okay. Mr. Lyunga is writing from Boya. He says, Monday's lockdown are not only what we enjoy, but a resistance to injustice. We are not paying this price to make decentralization effective. Okay? Thank you, Lyunga from Boya. We have government that believes in force for everything. This matter is a simple thing that would have been easily solved. All this hell is just for federal structure of the state. What was the foundation of the country? Okay. My name is Jude. My best school is the Arch Bilingual Nursery and Primary School, Bonaberry. It is my best school because the teachers are so committed and the proprietress is so motherly. Who is the proprietress of that school? I need to know her and greet her. Hello, I'm Kingsley from Malfonquen. I believe that the lockdown are not effective. I will not be effective due to the results of the previous lockdown we have had. In fact, a lot of families were starving during the last 10 days we had. So if we are caring and love ourselves, we should call it down. We are not part of the decision making body of those calling for the lockdown. We are merely discussing. What you people are saying there is something we have talked of every day, so I don't think much talking is useful. We need action. Cyril is writing from Bamenda. What is the action? Cyril, please write to us. Good evening to you. Lockdown, then what after? It will just make the situation more bitter for the population and themselves. Mr. Jones is for it. Let him leave Douala and go back to Bamenda or Kumba. Then he will know that he's talking nonsense. Okay, Madame Adje is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Leo and Bantu. I love the program very much. I love constructive criticism that suggests other means of getting a solution to the problem we the Anglophones have in this country. So we should think of better means that will take away the suffering from the common man on the ground and provide authentic and lasting solutions to the Anglophones' plight. Keep it up. My best school is GHS Womb, which I'm a product. Okay, that is my alma mater also. This is Elvis from Bamenda. The person that is talking about 50 years and 3 weeks is saying so because he is in Douala. Let him come and stay in Bamenda. Okay. Hello. Good evening to all. I'm Celestine in Kumba. This lockdown issue in Southwest and Northwest is a big disadvantage to us. I strongly condemn the idea. To be sincere, it's really bad. It will not help in any way. Okay. Hello there in the studio. I don't think the lockdown will solve the problem at hand because doing so is the poor that will suffer, especially those in the so-called ground zero, and the government don't even have our best interest. Ashley is writing from Limbe. Please help me ask Mr. Tamfu to talk wisely. We are the ones suffering back in the Southwest and Northwest. Until he relocates, then he will understand our pain. Nabila is writing from the Southwest, that is Limbe. Greetings to you guys on board. This lockdown is total madness. If they think they can handle the regime, it should be in Yaoundé. You can't put pain on the people you claim to protect. Rema Emil writing from Boya. This one says, Jones, stop talking like a layman. Can you stay in Kwakwa? So Ekumbe. You are not a good man. You hide in Douala and talk. I am Mr. Takang writing from Bonge. Good evening, sir. Greetings there in the studio. The lockdown is a means of communicating and passing a message to the government because we need a dialogue. People are dying. Families are getting separated. Our country needs peace. My best school is Nabex Bonduma. A mosque from Kumba. Respect to you all. Greetings to you all in the studio. The lockdown is just to let the world know that something is going on in the studio in the Anglophone regions and to tell the government to sit down and check for a solution very fast. This is Ronald writing from Yaoundé. We'll come back to the messages. Now, after 3 weeks of lockdown, what next?
Let me first of all say something before what will come next. You know, people misunderstand something about the whole lockdown concept. Me, I am an Anglophone. I am conscious of the fact that Anglophones' voices need to be heard. If it's by means of strike, by means of ghost town, by means of lockdown, or whatever, we all are conscious of that. We only get irritated where we don't strategize to ensure that we don't pain the people more. The ghost days or the lockdown days are so exaggerated that we feel concerned. You cannot be fighting against something that you want to completely annihilate your own self. So I think that is where Jones comes in. People misunderstand him to say that it's true. The lockdown it's a preferable way to agitate, that your voices could be heard. But when you exaggerate, it becomes a problem because it is not, the damage is not collateral. Don't sit and feel that you're paining the regime, you're making President Biya to feel so bad. the regime of Yaoundé already has profit. And sometimes we struggle to talk as members, as Anglophone in-house issues. How can we now realize that your opponent is not doing anything to better the situation? What do you do as in-house to ensure that you safeguard yourself while you struggle for what you're struggling for? So this is where the problem lies. If you keep going back to say that we want President Paul Biya to do this because we'll call for 2 months, 1 week, this goes down because President Biya has not done this. I mean, it's your cup of tea because the Yaoundé regime is so hard-hearted, is so adamant and carefree totally of what is happening. Because if they cared, they could quickly intervene in this issue. But after this, you're asking, what next? I think the issue of lockdown came purposely because for Siseko and the Naira 10 trial that landed them a life jail term.
And back to school.
And back to school that has been completely watered down. So what next to be done? It's for us to talk like this and talk as I'm talking. I'm sure that administrators are listening. And they should echo this. Elites, Anglophone elites of CPDM, SCF, those of you in parliament, in senate, who sit there and concentrate on your money, it's time you had better stood up for your people. Let your voices be heard. Send an appeal, like the kind of appeal I saw Fosso sending to President Biya as if, with adjective as if he's sending to God in heaven. Send that kind of appeal still to that President Biya. Tell him that it is very important to grant general amnesty to the Anglophones who have been incarcerated in jails, littered in jails across the country, and the Naira 10 detainees especially, so that this can, even, I keep repeating, during the First World War, there was a policy of appeasement. It's not because the international community, the UN, Britain, France, and others did not have the automatic power to crush down Germany, and they are peace because they wanted peace. You cannot be so stone-hearted. You send military to kill people who ask for dialogue. It's uncalled for. Okay, we should wear a human face. What next is for you, President Biya, and the government of Cameroon to call for general amnesty. It will bring calm and children to go to school.
Do you see the government budging Tamfu Jones because of this lockdown?
Come clearer, please.
Do you think the government is going to take a drastic decision because people are observing a ghost town, or it has been announced?
I don't think so, because so far, if the same government was preaching back to school in the northwest and the southwest, and when we were expecting that children go back to school in a peaceful environment, unfortunately, we have the jail term slammed upon Siseko and co. So I would like to acknowledge those who have criticized me for my point of view. Thank you people so much for doing that. I'm grateful. But what I want to make you to understand is that I myself, I am tired of the crisis. You don't know, you will never know what I have lost in this crisis. I have lost family members. I have lost businesses. But what I want is a peaceful northwest and southwest, because I myself, I'm here in Douala. I can't go to Bamenda. I cannot travel down to Kambe. But do you think that I'm comfortable about that? To go and eat fresh corn during the season? I'm not comfortable sitting here like this. I cannot move. So if you think that I am one of those people who want things to remain the way they are, I am not one of them. My plan is that the government should call for dialogue. Let's dialogue and then let things come back to normal. And not that whosoever should stop activities. No. But if these people are not stopping activities, I don't have power to tell them to do that or not. So if they're doing that, I'm always saying that maybe they did it because of this, because of this, because of this. Well, analyze the situation. So don't sit in your small corner and then you misquote me. Thank you.
Now, do you see the government taking some actions in the days ahead to try to turn the situation around, especially given the fact that people expect the pupils and students to take the streets, the roads to
it's possible. Baku said something which is very important. Those abroad, the Amba people, turn to those who are in the system. Parliamentarians, senators, and those in government. they should air our grievances and defend the people's voices. If you have any people to target in grievances, target these people and leave the people. If I may plead to them, keep the Monday the way you want. The people are already suffering. They have announced certain dates to the 2nd of September, so October. Make it short, but pass through parliamentarian senators to send their voices. If you have any problem, talk to these people. That those you have to target with grievances.
Okay, yeah.
There's not going to be any immediate government action. The government that I know is one that is not only methodic in its stringency, but it's going to take time to respond to an issue. We have a government that is aware of what is happening. It has the next step to take, but it prefers to delay it for political reasons.
Okay.
The next thing that I want to say is that the greatest mistake that Anglophones have made is to believe that there are some people called elites. There is no elite, so far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the Anglophone crisis. Because all the so-called people who call themselves elites, they have put us in the condition with which we are now.
You see, they're not playing that role.
I am saying that there are no elites. I am responsible for myself because who is an elite?
Anybody who has an impact on the lives of the people. It may be negative, it may be positive.
These guys are very far away from the people. I'm coming.
No, they are negative.
No, I am coming.
They're not delivering.
I'm coming.
They are elites.
You cannot have
who
elites who are not productive. You cannot have elites who cannot. At every point in time, I can leave here and I go back to Boya. I can leave here and go back to Bamenda. Because I am not a coward. We need elites that are productive.
Okay.
We need elites that will not sit and hold meetings in Yaoundé and end the proposal in Yaoundé.
Okay.
We need elites that the people can listen to. We don't need elites who will come and frighten us with 15 million in terms of back to school is not 15 million.
Okay. Good evening, Leonard, and all in the studio. Truly, the time has come when those on the ground are supposed to choose their faith and future. The people cannot continue to live in fear and sufferings. Those in the diaspora can clearly see that the government is technically not really affected by their set lockdowns and ghost towns. The man of the streets of Ground Zero is the only person feeling the venom of these imposed lockdowns and ghost towns. The international community can only sympathize and make statements with those of us here in the Northwest and Southwest regions, and all that won't put food on tables will resolve this crisis to this effect. I propose those on Ground Zero, Southwest and Northwest, decide on what they want. Either they denounce the lockdown completely and move on with their daily activities with intentions of facing anything that comes. They should grab the bull by the horns because they cannot live in fear forever, or they should appreciate the lockdown and ghost towns and patiently wait for their proposed independence. I am Achere Ita, writing from Sandpit in Boya. I realize it is easy to put arguments against the oppressed, but to tell the government who has the knife and yam people chew the words. The President of the Republic is responsible for all what is going on because he has the mandate and has to listen to the people, else the people will keep vomiting him as the Anglophones are doing. Emmanuel Mofo, writing from Boya, City of Excellence. This one says, good evening in the house. This country has a very big problem. Let government do something. The people who send the military to Southwest and Northwest are the English Cameroon who live in Yaoundé. Let them come to Ground Zero and face the gun. Hello, gentlemen. My take on this topic is that no one benefits. But unfortunately, the adverse effect obviously is on the Anglophones as their economic activities are destroyed. Their kids not going to school and killing made the order of the day. Brenda B. Okay. No, let's not call names. In the Northwest, okay. It's not in the Northwest and Southwest nor the children of the minister. So how do you think it affects them? I have never seen or heard an opposition calling for school boycott and numerous lockdowns on daily basis the way these guys are doing it. The Etude barons will never feel the effects of lockdown and school boycott. So we are shooting ourselves in the legs. Greetings to Gilles Mbinglo, my UB classmate. Happy to see him on the podium. Musa Buba, who is writing. I'm sure Gilles has your greetings. Nice day, all for God. René is writing from Kumba. Bonsoir, je m'appelle Madame Simon Rosy. Pour moi, la meilleure école, c'est l'école bilingue maternelle et primaire du H, située à Bonaberry, juste derrière le château, parce que les salles de classe sont climatisées, les enseignants sont bien formés, avec une expérience d'au moins 5 ans chacun. Bref, cette école est la meilleure parce que, hormis les enseignants, l'élève et la possibilité d'apprendre les arts informatiques, la musique et l'espagnol. Good evening to you. Good evening to you all in the studio. For those who announce the lockdown, we are not going anywhere. God will take control upon us. Ngonga Dennis is writing from Kumba. Good evening, sir. I like your program. My best school is Kas Kumba. Okay. Good evening. The lockdown is of no benefit on both sides, but bleeds the state economically. Abba Greg from Yaoundé. My best school is PSS Andek. I saw images from Andek and I wept today. This one says, good evening in the house. This country, it's okay. You're writing from Kumba. Good evening. I'm Frenzy from mile 6. Please, for me, the lockdown is very, very not a good idea. They should tell me how to store food for 3 weeks. My best school is GBHS at Tiela Nkwen Bomenda. Hello, good evening to you all. I just pray the government would forget about money and think about life because we have lost so much life. I'm called Luis. Luis, thank you. Good evening. Good evening to everyone. Lockdown will cause more harm than good, but at the end, it will stop those who are planning to go back to school. Let's fight, okay? By Chris Jonas Santiago, writing from Douala. It says, This one says, the wall in the bird pins, something is fast coming. Let the wise prepare themselves. The wise shall understand. Grace from Douala. Okay, Grace, thank you. Good evening, says this lockdown is causing more harm than good to the people in the Northwest and Southwest and have negative impact to the government. Instead of making more Anglophones to run to the Francophone zone and bumping their economy since we started keeping the ghost towns, which impact has it created to the government? We are instead killing ourselves the more so. This is instead giving the government more advantage or the military since the separatists can't face the military directly and giving them room to kill the civilians at will, and even the separatists are not safe. Thanks. Fung Ignatius, writing from Douala. We are moving almost out of time. One word for our next topic, just one word each. You have something?
Yeah, for the next topic.
Yes, I start with him. Tamfu. No. I start with you. The question is, will Cameroon be ready to host the AFCON going by the pace at which things are going on now?
I think it will be hard. Even if the host, it will not be up to standard like we have in other countries. It will just be out of sympathy that they didn't host the 2019 AFCON. And to let you know that Cameroon, the reason why Cameroon did not host was because of the poor infrastructural development we have, and secondly, the Anglophone crisis that is going on. And those were the reasons that were advanced late 2018 for Cameroon hosting. These things, we have not seen any progress. We have rather seen that as time goes on, the crisis is still exacerbating. And as far as the infrastructures are concerned, we've had some few people visiting the sites, the construction sites, but the truth is, the stadiums are not the only things that are necessary. We have hospitals, we have roads, but all this money has been diverted to the security of the state. So we don't have developmental infrastructures that are on in Cameroon.
Yes, very briefly, please.
I don't have much to say, actually, because the same things, the same reasons why the African Cup of Nations was not hosted by us are still there. The war has not ended, and the infrastructures are still nothing to write home about. So I think that maybe those who find themselves in positions of responsibilities should take their responsibility and do things the right way so that the right things happen.
Yeah.
It may not slide. It will not slide.
Okay.
For security reasons, we may not host it.
Okay, because of security. Okay, yeah.
I think that for once in our life, we should be ready to appreciate what is done back home. The efforts as of that time has improved, actually. But we only want to see more being done so that we don't have complaints from each sector, what is happening, payments of wages. I think we have every reason to host upcoming Nations Cup.
Okay, let's move to the newsroom to get in the press, find out what the press had for their readers today.
Greetings, good people, and thanks for joining us on In the Press on Prime Hour. On what is making news today in Cameroon, while the English newspapers focus on the Anglophone crisis, French newspapers, on their part, took interest in the ongoing cacophony at Kameko and the medical evacuation of Yves Michel Fosso to Morocco. We begin with the Guardian Post newspaper. The Guardian Post writes that Cardinal Toumi and Jean-Jacques Ikindi have joined campaign for effective school resumption in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. The paper also reports that the closure of Cameroon border grounds trade, while the Herald Tribune on its part reports that separatist leaders tearing each other over lockdown in the northwest and the southwest regions, as Dr. Samuel Sako declares lockdown from August 26 to September 16, while Ayabacho Lucas says lockdown is from September 2nd to 13. The Horizon and The Voice newspapers all report on the live jail for Ambazonia leader, with The Voice describing the trial as shameful. On the ongoing cacophony at Kameko, to inform Martin, the origin of the problem between the board chair and the general manager is kickbacks accruing from renting of aircraft for the company, while Le Messager says Ngale Bibier and Njipendi in turbulent zone. Mutation captions: Kameko quacks. 3 months after they took over the management of Kameko, the board chair and general manager quarreled over appointment. A Singa newspaper dedicates its front page to the former general manager of Cameroon Airlines, Yves Michel Fosso, who is on medical treatment in Morocco. The son of the multi-billionaire of Banjul, who was slammed 2 life sentences, is quoted by the Isinga newspaper as saying, "My father, Paul Biya, saved my life." While L'Oeil du Sahel on its part says, medical evacuation of Yves Michel Fosso, a secret deal struck by him and the government of Cameroon. We end with the National Bilingual Daily, Cameroon Tribune. The paper dedicates its front page to the inaugural ceremony of the National Command Center for Video Surveillance located at Etudi in Yaoundé. According to Cameroon Tribune, over 2,000 cameras installed already and currently linked to the center by over 65 antennas. The center was inaugurated by Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute yesterday. That does it for In the Press on Prime Hour.
Lasha Kisli, thank you. I'm sorry for that. Let me just take some few minutes before we wrap up for the night. The common population is the one in the pain. Lockdown will not, there is already a problem. Let's allow our children go back to school, because if we keep waiting for the government, then we will wait for long, because the government will not solve the problem. My name is Quentin Moses. My best school is GTHS Bomenda. I don't know whether that is Canada. Our government is the problem of the lockdown. It's Tani in Bafoussam. My best school is Kas Kumba. Please help me ask our brother to talk wisely. We are the ones suffering back in the southwest and northwest. Until he relocates, then he will understand our pains. Okay, I'm sure you are sending that message twice. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Ghost Town is just like a fasting for God to hear our prayer. Let be a call for dialogue. I'm Ali writing from Kumba. Good evening to you all on the panel, especially Mr. Gills. Lockdown Wahala is disastrous to both the population of the Northwest and Southwest and the Cameroonian economy, though it has a powerful message. My best school is Grammar School, Mamfi. It's Eteng Larry writing from Limbe. Samuel writing from Bomenda. The result of lockdown will affect only those in the Northwest and Southwest. And many people respect Ghost Town because of fear, not because of love. After the lockdown, what next? These lockdowns will only cause Anglophones to be tired and with the fights. My best school is Sacred Heart Bomenda. I'm called Ihims. AJ writing from Yaoundé. Greetings to you all. I like your program. The lockdown is a result of government's refusal to organize the much awaited dialogue but decided to jail the leaders for life. Yenla Martina writing from Yaoundé. Good evening to you all. There is nothing without an end. Even the lockdown is for 1 month. We are used to what we will you do is only to obey. My best school is GHS Eno Rene from Kumba. Hello, good evening. My best school is PCHS Bamenda Mancon because of its qualified and committed teachers. Is Natasha writing from Bamenda. Hello, good evening. I love this program, but my best school is Kas Kumba because the teachers there teach with a lot of inspiration. I only hope that schools should resume. I'm Ibwe Nathaniel Ngoe writing from Kumba. Charlene, Calvary greetings to you all in the studio. Please, my brothers, let us just watch and see what the pregnant night will give birth to, whether we are for the ghost town or not. But to me, let the rich keep sending their children out so that the military will secure us since they are few. My best school is GTC Vikovi in South Northwest region. Good evening to you, Charlene. This one says, cannot take this call. The people should just obey the 3 weeks ghost town rather than disobeying and dying. For those who don't have fridges, they can store their foods in dry packs. I strongly believe this won't last for long. We just have to bear with the present situation. This won't last forever. Good evening to you all, okay? Good evening to you guys in the studio. You people in the French-speaking regions now complain of ghost town than people who are on ground zero. It affects both parties. The economy of the country has been crippled and the people of the Northwest and Southwest are suffering, though, but nothing good comes easy. Good evening. I love your program. It's Larry from Douala Bonaberry. Good evening, my bro on Prime TV. Knockdown started because Amber fighters wanted to avoid civilian casualties. We have to end here. Tamfu Jones, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is always mine to come and discuss the things of the state for nation building.
To you, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Leo. I want to extend in regards to somebody says each time he sends messages, you never read. Maybe because of the hundreds of messages you get every day. Mr. Muko Waters of PC has in Bamenda. Thanks for always watching.
Good evening to you, Mr. Muko Waters. Thank you for coming, Gibbs.
Thank you very much, Leo. And just to say briefly that with so many beautiful names of schools, this is my best school, but it's rather unfortunate that those schools are in shambles. We wish we can come back to those glorious days.
Hello, I'm writing from Bamenda. My name is Rowan. I think the school should try and resume at the earliest time, please. Thank you for coming, Mr. Ndifo.
Thank you very much. MPs, senators, take over the fight.
My best school is St. John Kumba by Abigail. The Amber leaders themselves are not even in unity. How can they confuse people? Is it from 26th or from the 2nd of September? Okay. Please, I think the government is also affected somehow with lockdown since what yields income for them from these two regions is paused to during such periods. Kum Bennett from Bota. Good evening to you, Mbombo. Good evening, gentlemen. I don't see the government having an interest in this lockdown issue. If they have been careless about that for the past 3 years now, then will they look into it now? They enjoy seeing us suffer. So the lockdown is just to punish ourselves the more. Emmanuel is writing from Boya. Hello, good evening to you all. My name is Fridalin Ita, writing from Kumba. My best school is CCHS and CAS Kumba. The messages keep coming. We can't continue reading them. Thank you to you, Desmond, to you, Eli, and to you, Jerry, and to you, Madam Wami, and DK Dokas for assisting us, and morally to you, Tabi Tambe Brian, supervising all we are doing out here. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
La musique comme jamais sur votre télévision.